We have a quorum. Call to order the annual budget hearing. If you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So thank you. See, we have some attendees, so we're going to go ahead and get right going here with the budget hearing presentation by Ms. Laughlin and Dr. Massera.
Yes.
Who's on the move? He's on.
I am on the move because apparently I have unstable internet where I was.
Yeah, wherever you are now, it's already much better.
All right. Well, let's just hope we don't get barking dogs. That's the risk of this location.
Okay, Dr. Sarah, you can start.
Okay. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be able to present for this annual budget hearing. It is always a delight because my part of the presentation is the best part, in my opinion. It's not the boring numbers, no offense, Kerry, but it's really talking about, what this budget means for our students and our community and celebrating many of the great things that we have. I could say, yes, you can go, Kim. And I could say that through this, I think in the last couple of years, one of the things that Senator Mauritius can be proud of is this idea of this CM Pride, this hashtag CM Pride that we have built within our school and I think within our community. Because through the pandemic, while many people saw the challenges, or everyone saw the challenges, I think that we looked toward opportunities. And when we look toward opportunities through challenges, we are able to do great work. And I could say that one of the things that I'm really proud of is, and this is a part of the IB, being a part of the International Baccalaureate, is some of the strength of partnerships that we within our community. So for instance, this is a list of some of those things, like students collecting supplies for the animal shelters, for churches, the food pantries, assisted living facilities. These are all things that our kids got out into our community and did work on. If you enjoyed some of the displays on Main Street, like an old-fashioned holiday displays in windows, those were things that our kids helped to do. We led the effort in the county and in the area to bring sports back at the school level in the county. We worked very hard with the county executive's office and Section 11 to make sure that sports would return. And then, once that happened, this Board of Education made it a priority to say that we wanted to bring safe sporting events back into our community, and so you feel. And that was important. Cleaning up the beaches. Just last Friday, I had a student-run blood drive. Celebrating some of the great talents and unique talents that we probably wouldn't have seen if we ran a regular talent show, but to run a virtual talent show and a student-driven virtual talent show was fantastic. This past weekend, Mr. Spiller and several other community residents were there working on our community garden to rebuild that, and we thank them for that. So bringing our community in, getting out into the community, all of those things were great. Given the pandemic, one of the, with our partnerships with Suffolk County, the Suffolk County leadership and the county executive's office, we were the first in two areas to be a distribution site, a point of distribution or a pod, to vaccinate residents in the Santa Maria zip codes, as well as students 16 years and older. And so we are very proud that we were able to provide those opportunities for our kids and for our community as well. You can go to the next one. Thank you. So lots of other things to be proud of in our sports teams. Again, an abbreviated season, but our kids were so excited to be a part of it that they jumped right out. And what was neat about it too, talking about those partnerships, when sports came back, because of our role in bringing sports back, you may have seen the Fox News feature, and that was about getting getting sports going again. And Senator Mauritius, it was great because who did they feature? They featured that basketball team that could have gone all the way to states the year before, but they had an opportunity to see our team and meet with our players, as well as other student athletes as well. So I thought that was great. And this being a part of this, having to sign that athlete's pledge really brought about very responsible behaviors amongst our kids and really brought about the best in our kids. This year we had many teams that were represented that were represented in county championships, from soccer to track, and all really our as we expect of our student athletes to really step up and do great things. This year, Jordan Titus, congratulations to him, a 3-time state wrestling champion. That's remarkable. We have Team Up for Unity representatives. You see the picture there. There's, you see, Jaden there, and just really wonderful that we've got our kids doing really good things. We had all of our teams were scholar athlete teams in the winter season. So we are because all our teams we were a 2020 Scholar of Distinction school. Which I think is fantastic, because our kids aren't just getting it done on the fields, they're getting it done in the classroom, which is of course most important to us. We have 15 student athletes so far this year committed to play college athletics. Outstanding work on the part of all of these committed students and our committed coaches and our committed teachers. In terms of the arts, this is our 4th year in a row where we were one of the best communities for music education. And you can see some of those things there. You can see some drama rehearsals, some band rehearsals, and some of our artwork. We had honor band participants in the Nisbeta Festival. We had student artwork displayed at the Heckscher Museum, the Long Island Best Art Exhibition. Very excited for the coming weeks for the theater production of Grease, a very creative way to utilize outdoor space that's perfectly appropriate to the production and allow our students to put on a performance. So that's going to be fantastic. Our music department very creatively was able to put on a virtual holiday concert by blending various performances and creating something that we can be proud of. So some real nice stuff happening in the arts. As far as technology enhancements, we had no choice but to kind of flip that switch and really, put the pedal down to the floor in terms of moving forward on technology. And we needed to do that in order to leverage that technology so that our students would be able to learn through a pandemic. We found multiple revenue sources, from use of reserves to some donations to grant money, any way we could, but we were able to realize a one-to-one Chromebook initiative in our middle and high schools. And we are better set up for technology than this district ever has before, in order of the amount of devices on hand, the infrastructure that we have, as well as, most importantly, the preparedness of our teachers to implement technology resources that are going to enhance instruction. So, that obviously we needed to include many of the online software that or educational software that we employ. This live synchronous instruction began mid-year this year, where we had every classroom being live synchronous. As I indicated, the bandwidth, we created our device policy early on until we got to that one-to-one. Now we don't necessarily need that, because we are in a great position with our technology. This budget moving forward is going to have a smart board replacement plan. That will enable, and it was interesting because I had the 2 principals for the day down in the elementary school came to me with a proposal for smart boards. I was happy to be able to say that this was included in our budget. One of the things I'm really proud of is the new website. We saw it as a priority. We knew we needed to be not only ADA compliant, but we needed to make sure it was streamlined and working better. And I think we've accomplished that. And so we have an enhanced website that I think is, obviously sometimes it takes a little while getting used to, but from a design standpoint, much more streamlined, much more accessible, much more easy to update. And I think has a better look to it, a more updated look to it. So really happy with the work that was done on that. Just, outstanding work. We're very happy with our partner Syntax, who were able to put that together for us. At our elementary school, great things are happening there. The focus toward dedicating space for project-based learning, so kids can be inquirers and really use that inquiry-based approach to learning, with our science lab for hands-on science learning, and utilizing our inquiry lab for just that, for project-based learning experiences that are designed to really engage the students in very meaningful constructivist type tasks. We're continuing with our foreign language at the elementary school program, and really having great success there. The kids really enjoy it. And that was featured in several presentations last year, or a couple of presentations to our board last year. Clearly, we understand that the pandemic has taken its toll, and therefore this increased focus on social emotional learning, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. There's lots happening in those regards. We, clearly the International Baccalaureate is internationally focused, and the PYP Learner Profile is one that clearly supports all of these kinds of things. We have an active and robust cultural awareness committee there. And they actually took the lead. Our fifth grade leaders took the lead for the No Place for Hate designation, and so that we could bring that into our school. They are now partnering with our student leaders in the high school leadership program, and they're working with them so that we can bring this into our other two buildings. Really fantastic stuff happening across our buildings to connect them. We are moving toward more restorative practices as opposed to draconian disciplinary practices, more restorative practices, so students can understand if they make a mistake, if they how they learn from their mistake, and make a right out of that wrong. And clearly a focus on mindfulness, so that this students can understand what those feelings are that they're having, and how their actions impact others, and how others' actions impact them. So really a focus on being able to self-manage and self-regulate is a priority in mindfulness instruction. As far as the curriculum goes, for the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, we are continuing that partnership. We get tremendous professional development out of that, and we are working toward our students, and Mr. Ritchie has started looking at the reading continuums and ways that we can utilize our reading continuum so that our students and our parents better understand that reading process so that they can be supported. So more work is being done there, and that's to come. Obviously, in that science lab and in our classes in general, partnering with Eastern Suffolk BOCES for their science kits allows us to do those hands-on lessons I talked about earlier, as well as a focus on STEAM-based activities in these project-based learning. But next year, we are looking toward a new benchmark assessment. That's the STAR assessment. And that STAR assessment is important because the data we get out of that not only helps us to assess where children are, it helps us to set targets for them in ELA and mathematics for the coming year, so that they have something to strive for, some goals to shoot for. And teachers know where we want those kids to land by the end of the year. As well, that information, that data can be uploaded and can be curated, can be uploaded so that we can curate apps that can target and more personalized learning. So things like eSpark can take that data and tailor some of those when students are in centers to provide activities for them that are most appropriate for the students. Increased utilization of technology, and that's the increased utilization of technology to support these individualized learning paths for students. At the middle school, we have clearly our focus in some of the ideas I talked about earlier in those community connections were right out of the MYP community project, and fostering student agency and learning through service. So getting out into our community and doing those service learning projects, lots of great things happening. And you can see some photos of some of these service learning projects that took place in our communities, The technology initiative, the one-to-one Chromebook rollout, students are excited about that. Teachers are excited about that. We're all excited about what that means to support learning. And then, as far as the social emotional support for kids, I always talk about how I see it as a father, I see it as a superintendent, and I see it everywhere, the impact that this pandemic and social media, decrease in in-person social interactions has had on kids. So it's important that we are doing these things and supporting kids. This year, we started to pick up on some student recognition utilizing the IB learner profiles in the middle school and in the high school. And those have been great. And we've been recognizing students at every board meeting. So I think it's important that we can continue to do those things. Our family and community, family and consumer science classes, the FACS class, does a lot of great work. We saw some of that with the food truck wars and some of the other lessons that take place with the health and safety planning lessons and such. Really a lot of good stuff. And clearly the return to sports has been wonderful for our kids in the middle school and in the high school. Moving over to the high school, we featured some students just recently that competed in the MathCon competition, and as part of our student recognition, I think last month. That's been wonderful. We've been enjoying being able to see our CMTV broadcast coming back and seeing what the students are up to and getting out there and interviewing each other and really putting together some wonderful broadcasts. One of the things we wanted to do was work toward more, get back to some of those inductions. So we were able to have honor society inductions, mostly virtual, but moving forward, looking toward bringing some of those in person. I spoke about the virtual talent show, but what I didn't mention was that was put together. I did mention that it was put together by students, but it was from our friends and buddies group. We have increasing opportunities consistently. We've got several students that are moving forward with that International Baccalaureate DP program, but access to IB classes for many more students, as well as continuing the access to the advanced placement courses. So lots of opportunities for our kids. I talked about the student of the month and some of the exemplars of the IB learner profile that we featured in recent months. And you can see one right there with Emily in the picture. Peer leadership has done tremendous things. As I said, peer leadership was down in the elementary school and is working with those fifth graders on the No Place for Hate designation to bring it up to the high school. Just doing a lot of wonderful things. They took on some projects, certainly around, after the passing of Joe Rira, they did some things around that, and lots of good things that they are really infusing themselves into things all over the school that are really positive. And we also had a couple of students that were recognized as employees of the month in the BOCE's career and tech ed programs. So we're really proud of the work that they're doing there. You could see the parking lot painting there that was a positive. I think that was added this year as well. So I thank Mr. Thode and Ms. Mangonia for including that also. All right, like I said, it really is when I reflect on these things and I think about all of those things that we have to be proud of and those positive community relationships, it really is exciting for me to be able to be the superintendent and look and see all those wonderful things that are happening within our schools. But at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Carrie Lachlan, who's going to talk all of those other things, beginning with enrollment. Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, the boring stuff.
No,
All right, we'll go into numbers. So we're going to just kind of go through some basic information, then we'll get into the actual budget numbers and where we stand for the budget vote. This is just showing the trend of the 3-year enrollment, grades K-12. You can see we've had pretty declining enrollment over the course of the 3 years. You do see in 9th grade, there's a slight uptick, and that's due to the 9th graders from East Merches coming into our district for education. So just kind of showing the trend, this is where we are headed. You do see that bubble year. The 9th graders are that bubble class that are going into 10th grade next year and will continue out. But after them, it does kind of level off to some steady enrollment, especially down in the elementary buildings. So as we started the budget this year, we had some goals that we put in place with the Board of Education. That was to maintain all of our current programs. The health and safety of our students and staff was one of our utmost priorities in the current situation we're working within, as well as reduce reliance on fund balance, maintain fiscal stability long-term, which ties into the reduction of reliance on fund balance. And most importantly is making sure the budget is affordable for all residents as we move into the 21-22 school year. So the actual budget, as we see it, and as the board has adopted for vote, if you recall last meeting when we did adopt the budget, we had talked about the state aid and federal aid that came through, thankfully, in early April, right before we were adopting the budget. And as a result of that, they are increasing foundation aid. Foundation aid has been frozen for quite some time now, so we've been held at that 7.9 million. Our formula should be 12.9 million. So we were due just about $5 million from the state on that particular formula. So you can see here the different phases of how they're going to be giving that money to us. And in 21-22, we're getting $1.3 million, which helped close our budget gap that we were working within as of March 30th. It helped us actually maintain our programs that we had in place now, as well as put some other things back in the budget that we had taken out of for the current school year to balance it. In addition, there's federal funding, which we will get into actually at the May 19th meeting. We will present more detail about that federal funding. Just yesterday, we received guidance on the spending plans that are required for that. So we're working through that as an administrative team to come up with the plan that we will then present to the board and the public for commentary. It does have to be adopted by July 1st. So we are kind of on a fast-paced track with that one. But as we're getting the information in, we're turnkeying it out, and we'll make sure that everybody is fully aware of how we plan to spend almost $3 million that's coming in from the federal government. So like I said before, the increased state aid has allowed us to maintain programs and class sizes. We are able to reduce the reliance on reserves and the applied fund balance. And we can reinstate the program reductions that we had to implement for the 2020-2021 school year. So the proposed budget overall is $44,301,233, which is a decrease of the current school year budget of 0.47%. The tax levy is at 1.07%, which is the maximum limit that we're allowable by law. It's an increase dollar-wise of $262,000. So here's just a summary of the budget. It's a three-part component budget. This is how it's required to be presented. We have presented it in this format in detail over the past few months. You can always go back to each of those presentations on the website to see the true details behind each of these, as well as the budget book is in each of the buildings and district office, as well as online with the line-by-line budget for anybody to review. So the administrative component and capital, you can see are about 10% each of the budget, the largest portion being our program budget, as it should be. The administrative component is our legal services, salaries and benefits of administration and support staff, curriculum and development programs, our finance office, our audits, as well as personnel. Capital is everything that pertains to the buildings and grounds, the salaries and benefits for all of that staff, utilities, everything that is related to keep the building operations going, the debt of the district, as well as anything transferred to capital. And what transfer to capital it is, which we'll get into in another slide, is money that we're transferring over to the capital fund for particular projects. The program component is just that, the programs that we offer to all of our students. It's all of our instructional salaries and benefits. It's all of our textbook supplies, contracts for services, BOCEs, tuition costs, transportation costs, the athletics, the music programs, the nurses, guidance counselors, all of that is part of our program component. And that's everything that we do to make sure our students are educated the best that we possibly can. So on the other side, to balance the budget, is the revenue. And again, you can see we do rely heavily on our tax levy. That is the largest portion of our revenue. And then the second largest piece is our state aid. So again, as I stated, our tax levy is at 1.07, which is our maximum allowable. We will be going to that maximum this year. The foundation aid increase has helped us within the state aid area. This money, though, the 13 million represented there, does not include the federal grant programs, that 3 million on the previous slide. That is separate and apart from the general fund budget. And as I said, we will be presenting a budget for that particular spending. It is to be presented for commentary to the board and the public and adopted by July 1st. And that is not voter adopted, it is just commentary and board adopted. Tuition is a large portion of our revenue as well. We have tuition coming in for East Merchant students in the 9 through 12, our Native American student population, there's a state contract for that, as well as our special education program. We have a great 811 program where we have various students from districts all over Long Island that come to attend our program and receive the best education they possibly can with our special education teachers. So, and then the miscellaneous category, which is the little blue slice on there that has no line because it is very minimal. But that's interest we're earning on our bank accounts, student fees for driver's ed, lost textbooks, some refunds we received from prior year expenses, the premium on our borrowing of cash, some billings we do for health services, and our E-rate reimbursement. So as I mentioned before, transfer to capital is a line item within the budget. This year it's $100,000. And what this does, it's called a capital outlay project. It has to be spent within 1 year's time. So from July 1st to June 30th, we have to complete a project that is $100,000 or less. Once we do that work, we will then file all the necessary paperwork to the state education department, and then we receive building aid back on that project in the following school year. Our ratio is 73%. So in essence, $100,000 project in the following year will only cost $27,000 to the taxpayers. So this year, what we're putting out there is we're going to install bottle filling stations district-wide. So all the current regular water fountains are being replaced with bottle filling stations, and the estimated cost for that is about $69,000. We're also going to be looking to replace exhaust fans, primarily at Clayton Huey. We're going to see how many we can do with the $30,000 we have left of the $100,000. We are working with a vendor to get a quote on that from state contract so we can get our paperwork submitted to SED. As soon as we get that paperwork in, the goal is to have a permit by July 1 with the intent to try to get these projects done over the summer times. So what you'll see on the ballot when you come to vote is Proposition 1, and that is to vote for the actual budget of $44,301,233, and that it is within the tax levy, and it is a simple yes or no vote on that front page of the ballot. On the other side of the ballot, you'll see a vote for the member of Board of Education. This year we have one member, one seat open, and it is only one candidate running. Incumbent George Maxwell will be running for the Board of Education. So just a reminder, the annual budget vote is taking place at Clayton Huey in the Main Street Gym. It's Tuesday, May 18th, and the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Absentee ballots can be requested by the district clerk. She is in district office, Janine Barr. Contact information is on the website in order to receive that application for the absentee ballot. Questions or answers from the Board of Education, and then we can open it up to the public.
Carrie, quick question on the capital outlay.
Sure.
The fans, are those mainly bathroom fans, gymnasium?
No, they're the roof fans. So the primary ones, our focus is to see if we can get the ones over the Main Street Gym or the kindergarten wing. Those are the two primary areas. Many of them have to be replaced district-wide. But in talking with Bill Thompson, our head of maintenance, those are the key areas that we want to start working on. And so we have a vendor from state contract coming, I believe he's actually coming tomorrow, to take a look so we can assess which is the priority and how many we can possibly get done.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Anything else from the board?
Thank you. The amount of work you guys put into this, the budget process, just want to thank you guys, you and Ron and the whole administration team.
I was going to say the same thing, right, Tom? Been a very, very stressful couple of years. And thankfully, we got some restoration of aid there to help us out a little bit, make it a little bit easier. But I think by now, we've had such thorough presentations. I can't even make up a question to ask you. So thank you very much for all of your work. We do appreciate it. Anyone? Robin, Danielle?
No, thank you very much.
So George, if you don't mind, if I open it up to the public for comments on the budget
absolutely,
portion of the
Carrie.
meeting?
I'm sorry. I'm having a dog barking issue over
No,
here.
no worries.
So I muted. Can you hear the dog?
So if anyone wants to use their raise hand feature, if they have any questions, we can
This
take.
is just about the budget, right?
Correct.
Correct. This is just on the budget itself right now.
Correct. General comments or questions about the budget?
I'm not seeing any hands raised.
No hands.
The 4 attendees that we have.
Okay.
We'll also make this available. We'll put this.
It will be posted
Just the
tomorrow
budget-
morning.
Just the budget part of the board meeting will be a link also. That we
Yep.
can.
And the presentation will be posted tomorrow morning on the website.
Great. Thank you. So
Yep.
that brings us to the adjournment of annual budget hearing meeting. Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So now we'll call to order the public session. And we'll get right to the superintendent's report, committees.
Well, we'll because of the budget hearing, we're saving those for next meeting.
Okay. All right,
We have student recognition and some other things planned, and we pushed it all off to next meeting.
okay. So then now, if you have any questions or comments regarding tonight's agenda only, and just a reminder, we will have a public question and answer session at the end where you can ask about anything. But this is just pertaining to tonight's agenda. And again, use the hand raising function. And Bill will call on you.
No hands.
Nothing, Bill?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
We have 5 participants. If you want to minus our 2 principals, you have 3.
3. Well, we thank them for coming out and braving the way.
Yes.
All right, so that brings us to the approval of minutes. The Board of Education is asked to accept the minutes of the following meeting as prepared by the district clerk. Minutes of the meeting of the Board of Ed on April 14th, 2021, which is Exhibit 1, and minutes of the meeting of the Special Board of Education meeting on April 20th, 2021, Exhibit 1A. Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. I think that's you, Janine.
All right, I'm back on. Financial reports. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, accepts the following financial reports. A, the Student Activity Treasurer's Report for March 2021. Internal Claims Audit Report for March 2021. C, Treasurer's Report, March 2021, and Budget Transfers as 1 page.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
A consent agenda vote. Be it resolved, a motion to approve the consent agenda, asterisk agenda items or consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are approved via a single vote unless they are removed from being a consent item prior to the vote.
Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried unanimously. We do want to thank the anonymous donors, choose.org, for their donation. It's all the way down at the bottom. 21 devices, Amazon Fire 7 Kids Edition. So it's great. So thank you very much for that. I think that's the only donation I saw, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And that brings us, I guess, to the general comments. Am I right on that? I'm sorry, I have the agenda on my phone, so.
You're correct.
So if any of our participants have any questions regarding anything, this is the time to raise your hand. Nothing.
Nothing. No hands. Oh, wait, we have one.
We have one.
Hold on. Christine Buff.
She disappeared. Oh, that's right. You have to promote her, right, Bill?
Yep.
I thought she hung up. Okay. How are you?
I'm okay. I just wanted to say hello because I feel like there's no one here to say anything. So I just want to say hello.
Hello.
Thank you for the presentation. It was quite clear, so I appreciate it very much. And just very hopeful that next year we'll have all of our other music things back for the kids and just, having things being more normal for everybody. So I do appreciate everybody's hard work. I know it's been a very trying year, and I've also been quite vocal in some of my desperate pleas for things. So just thank you, I guess. I don't know. I just felt like I should say something because there's no one here.
Well, thank
So,
We
thank you
appreciate
for the comments, and we're hoping what you're hoping, fingers crossed, right? Then in September, hopefully we get to return to some normalcy. And as we've seen, we've slowly been able to add some of that back in, as Dr. Massera highlighted, and every opportunity
Definitely.
we get. So, and we appreciate you coming out to every board meeting and being an advocate for those things that are important to you. So thank you very much for that.
appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You as well.
Good.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bill?
That's it.
Okay. So that's a motion to adjourn.
43.
Wait, do I adjourn and then go into exec?
Are you going back?
Right? We have to adjourn first, then we go. Motion
no.
adjourn, motion
Yes.
second.
Move to executive session, not adjourn. We'll adjourn
Oh.
after, come out of executive session.
Okay, so, all right, so scratch that from the record. And let's make a motion to move into executive session to discuss other matters, the disclosure of which would result in an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Motion,
Motion.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
George, I would just make the disclaimer that we can assure the public that there will be no business
Yeah, no business after.
the meeting so that people really don't need to wait around. There will not be any business.
No, there's nothing actionable that is going to come out of this exec. So motion carries unanimously, and then just whether you're one of the 2 or 3 participants here, the Board of Election and Budget vote is Tuesday, May 18th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Clayton Huey Main Street Gym. Please come out and vote. And if you're watching this, after the fact or listening to it or what have you, please come out and vote. It's really important that the community comes out, and this is your opportunity. So please get out there this year. We appreciate it. I think we had a record turnout last year, but we also had the mail-in votes.
Mhm.
We love to hear from you, and this is just another way. So thank you very much. Next Board of Ed meeting is May 19th. That's right. That's only.
Yep, day after the budget vote.
All right, executive session is 6 o'clock, and the action meeting is approximately 7 o'clock. Location to be determined. Hopefully we'll be live. And we'll see you there. Thank you.